Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. No sign today. It fell off the wall. So you guys might notice that the room is a little different. I actually have the lights on, so you can actually see my ugly mug. Yeah, we're going to go over yesterday's price action a little bit, talk about things we're still looking at. By and large, Bitcoin is still fairly range bound in my opinion. So the levels that we're playing off of are going to be levels you hear frequently. They are repeated, but they offer up a lot of day trades. And I want to cover a day trade that we actually talked about yesterday on stream. So this will be going straight back into yesterday's price action. This is the start of yesterday, and this is the end of yesterday right here. And you can see this is your New York session. Okay, so we were in the New York session obviously yesterday when we were talking about this, and what we were referencing was the end of the Asia session into London and how we could use that to get a trade. So I'm gonna go ahead and hide the daily here. And I believe, yeah, there's our Asia, right? And we had the Asia POC. Also, you'll notice that this is going to be your London low, meaning this is the low of the session and the Asia POC. You had come up to essentially effectively the daily open or weekly open, whichever one you wanted to use right here. And we swept these highs. We came down to the Asia POC. We just talked about that and your London lows. You then took it by about 50 cents. Right here remains support. And what did we say? We said if you get back above 22,810, we would expect to see price rally, right? And what would we be targeting at that point is this local high right here. This is actually technically the Asia high. I think I referred to this as the Asia high yesterday mistakenly, but this is actually technically your Asia and your daily high, right? So what you are targeting is once you find acceptance back above the level, we're looking to get above the VWAP, obviously, and then run it to where the Asia highs, right? So we ran it to the session high, and you can see that you even came back down, held this local high right here that was swung fail as support. And I believe that was also going to be your New York session VWAP. Yeah, there you are. You can see that you're riding this pretty nicely until what? You break down. And then all you're doing from there is mapping out where's my value area low. And at the time, this is actually incorporating too much data. So let's go ahead and do this one. You can see that this was the previous day val basically. So from there, you've bounced and you've cycled that range in its entirety, and you're still hanging on to what? The VWAP, and we don't need this WAP anymore. And this local high. So if we break back below this area, what are we doing? We're just looking to take it back to whatever our session highs and lows are going to be again. So that's how that information should have been used yesterday. Hopefully it was clear, but if it wasn't, hopefully a secondary rundown of it is good for you guys. Another thing I like to do is track things based on trend. You can see that this is the end of the New York session right here. Okay, so I'm just tracking the New York session with our tools that we use in the group, and we start breaking down below it, get a back test, and that is your cue to get one back inside the daily range and trade it back to the lows. So that's the day trade on that. So the levels are pretty clear. One thing I want to spend some time on today is the DXY. And let's see how many people we have in here. 16. So appreciate you guys being here on a Tuesday morning. It's really nice here in Kansas for once. So hopefully you guys are all getting some good weather wherever you are. The DXY coming into some pretty important areas. I posted this on my Twitter. It's been in the group. So this is a box that I've been targeting for quite some time, actually, off of this move below this local low, right? It's just a local monthly low right here. And this box, if we were to extend it to the, I believe it was the left. Let's see. Is this the, yeah, there we go. We can get rid of this one. And we'll go ahead and get rid of our fibs and move this out to like the 3 month, right? You guys know how we like the high time frames here. So this is your 2016 and 17 highs. Like if you go out even further to the 12 month, it's easier to see that. There is your 16 high and your 17 high. You could even mark out your 2020 high if you wanted to, but it's not necessary in this case. You've already got this 12-month level right here. So you are moving back into familiar territory. You can see that even on a yearly here, this was resistance, 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 pseudo support and resistance here, resistance, and now trying to be flipped into support. So if we're going to see a interim rally out of the DXY, this is the area on the chart that is going to be respected. And you can see that right here. So I would be looking at this as continued support. And realistically, you do have some pretty interesting targets. You've got the quarter one up here from 2023. You can see that we generated this on the 2nd of January or the beginning of the year, and we have not tagged it. This would imply a move back to 106. We're currently trading at 103.926. So that's a 3% move out of this. And you can see that a 3% move out of this will have ramifications on the price of Bitcoin and other risk on assets. So bear that in mind. So don't be getting too crazy with it. Now, another thing that we also have is our 6-month pivot. So now we're getting into the even higher time frames here, guys, and we can start adding on our levels and making sure that everything is visible. I'm missing one level. Nope, there it is. It's right there. So we have 3 really important things that we should be watching for. We have our yearly pivot, which right here has gotten a little bit of action already early in the year. We're coming back to it right now, so it'll be an interesting back test. However, we've also said that if you cleared 104.775 in the past, which was kind of the key level for us, so I'm going to get rid of this guy for just a second. And you can see it with support resistance right here. And then you have this deviation of the local support and resistance, which you could just classify as the 2016 highs and 2017 highs, this little area right here. Let's get rid of this. You could just classify this as the range. You're getting back into it. So what do we expect? Probably to see 104.775 again. And if you flip that area, what we're looking for is this zone between 106 and 107. And that's a really big jump for the DXY, which would not bode well for Bitcoin. So this is going to be an important area to keep an eye on, because if it comes up here, finds resistance, maybe gets just above the level, gives it back up, turns it into resistance, it comes back down, you could remain range bound. But to me, that would look like continuation of trend, as this would just be a series of lower highs. However, the moment you start actually breaking above 104, you're probably going to take this high out, and you have to be cautious of that. We have a 6-month swing failure pattern right here, so there is some local resistance that's a little more relevant to price action right here on the DXY. I would imagine we're going to come back up to this area and test it out again. And if we get through it, I would expect to fill in some of this wick, and this is a pretty big wick on the 6-month chart. So that translates directly to Bitcoin as we dive into the higher time frames on it. So I'm going to go and pull up the Bitcoin chart. Hopefully that was clear. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. And Crypto Carnivore, thank you. Much appreciated. Always like to get good feedback. As always, guys, the only way that we know we're providing really good value is if you interact with the live. That means commenting or liking it or sharing it, whichever one you prefer. That's always appreciated. So we've been working off the same levels. We've got a new weekly open. We do need to change. You can see that I've been kind of lazy here, but this is the prior week open, which is going to be fairly important in my opinion. And I know Max has been on about the monthly open as well. We might take a look at that. But let's see. I think I have the previous week open on here for something. There it is. You can see I haven't used the previous week open in quite some time, but we've had no real reason to. But our previous week open up at this old NPOC here, can get rid of that. What is this? Is this a doubled up POC that I just need to get rid of? I think it is. Let's take a peek. We're going to clean this chart up a little bit. Dirty chart, got to clean it up. And you can see that I've got this thing listed twice on here. Nice. Yeah, I like that. This looks good. So previous week open obviously is big resistance, also the previous week high. So really anything over 23,745. And I actually get a little bit more bullish in the sense that I think that we would probably take this high, maybe swing fail it into 24.7. Anything above this box though, and I'm looking directly to about 26.5 to 26.724. That's the bullish case. However, if we're looking at the DXY and the DXY is doing what the DXY is doing, we should really have the more relevant levels in our mind's eye, right? So we talked about not closing below 22,810 on a daily. We haven't done that since, well, the 25th of January. So what is that, like 13 days, 2 weeks? It's been 2 weeks above this level, and we had our first daily closure below it. Now that does not constitute a reversal, but if this candle comes back down and gives up the daily open by the end of the day, that would actually look pretty pretty bad to me. I would expect to take these lows here, especially this previous week low at a minimum. I believe this is the new previous week low there. And that's right around 22.4. So you start giving up that key support at 22.4. We've been talking about this. That's also going to be your local highs just next door, right? So you can see that here on the September highs. Where did you settle up? Settled up right here. So just very basic. Oh, man. My ability to operate today is not great, but we just extend that over, and what do you notice? We're sitting right on top of it. So don't really want to be giving that up. If we do, what would we be looking for? Well, logically, you could just move this all the way down to here now, and you could just say these next daily highs, however you want to mark them. Some people will mark this candle right here as a whole. But this is realistically where you're heading, back to these local highs, and this was, you know, pretty good support and resistance throughout the range. You can see if we move this over, anytime you're above this level, good things happen. You go below it, well, I wouldn't say bad things happen, but you're gonna probably revisit, you know, somewhere around 19K. And we've talked about this. So lose 22.4. There's quite a few stop losses down here. There is a single print that Max has been covering, making sure you guys are aware of it. And I would expect that void to get filled. So for right now, we have a really clean range. We've been taking our day trades, as we just discussed right here, went over yesterday's day trade into the Asia session high. I haven't really been trading today. Did take some trades yesterday, though. Did take a long yesterday as well after we claimed the VWAP and September high. I didn't run it too far, literally just ran it back up to this local resistance around 23K and got out. So this is now the developing week. So we could actually shoot this over, and I'll clean this chart up. And we can get rid of the regression. And this was your previous day regression right here into the weekly. And you can see we're at dead center in the middle, guys. So really want to be cautious with that, I guess you could say. So this being your weekly open, if you lose the weekly open, what are we looking to do? Probably put pressure back on this level. And what did we just say we don't want to do? Well, we don't want to come down and close below 22,810 on a daily. So this weekly open is going to be pretty key. Max talking about the monthly open. What's our monthly open at? 23,138. Yeah, also a good level. You can see how that's going to be important as well. I have 23,402, but let's go ahead and just put 23. Maybe. Is this thing not going to let me? Had the number lock off. So this would be your monthly open. So hold the weekly open, claim the monthly open, and you can see right here there's not much between us and probably taking these local highs. One thing that to note is we did front run our pivots. So these weekly pivots are still not tapped, and that these are also right in line with where we were last week, basically implying we've been pretty range bound, which I don't think is a secret to anyone that's been paying attention. But yeah, weekly open, good support for now, needs to hold. If you can hold it, next target, you got the monthly open and the pivots. And I think we boxed this level off actually originally. This was one of our boxes. We have this one up here, which we can now probably get, well, we'll keep it for now. But you had a box right here between the weekly pivots and I believe like a local gold pocket. Oh, man. I'm just messing up all over the place. But yeah, clear the monthly open, guys, and we can look up to the previous week open. And I would actually really like to see this area of the chart if we reach it. This is going to make for a really great trading area if given the opportunity, right? So this is still a very, very interesting spot. There we go. That's what we needed. So we've got the previous week high right here, and we've got the weekly or previous week open up here, which is going to be resistance potentially. And so this will be the really big tell. If we're going to see this thing try to make a new high, this is the box. Locally, obviously, we're just playing weekly open to monthly open right now and weekly pivots, however you want to look at it. So hopefully that was clear because I kind of fumbled around there at the end. Sorry about that. But pretty simple levels, right? And I would really, really advise just keeping an eye on the DXY. So if you don't chart the DXY, you might just put some alerts on there at a minimum. Like you can see here, we've come up and tagged a level here. We're getting some resistance, and I believe this is also the local gold pocket. So what did we just say? If we come up to this level, turn back around and turn this into resistance, I would expect Bitcoin to make that attempt up. How do you locate NPOC and how to use trading? NPOCs are just naked points of control left over from prior sessions. So you're going to have NPOCs on weekly timeframes, daily timeframes, sessions, like Asia, New York, London, monthly POCs, those are all there. So what's the confluence of that? Well, anytime it's left naked, it means it wasn't back tested before or after the range ends or the session ends. And you have to understand that they're not always meant to be support and resistance, but if there's other things with it, like another level, whether it's like a weekly level or a daily level, or maybe it's a pivot or something, you can use those for support and resistance a little bit, and you can expect some bounces here and there. So that's how I use them. I use them as targets primarily, so I don't necessarily use them for support and resistance a lot unless there's something else there. Personally, I like to just know that they fill at a pretty high rate, and it helps give me an edge in the terms of statistics going, okay, there's a good chance that if we come back to this range or this area of the chart, this is going to get taken out. Kind of like a pivot. Pivots are much the same way. They're not necessarily meant to be support and resistance, even though they'll operate that way sometimes, kind of like a moving average. But they have high rates of interaction with price. So you can start, help deriving targets. You can derive areas of interest, especially again, if it lines up with something else. So I hope that's useful, but it's not meant to just be the end all be all to trading. A lot of people will say that. They'll say, oh, this NPOC is what rejected it. Usually there's something else there as well. But yeah, I just use them for like statistics. Like, okay, how often do these fill? It gives me a target, or like maybe it's a take profit. Like I use the 24,000 weekly NPOC as an area to take profit. I don't look at the Euro OC. I probably won't today because it'll just take too much time. And I've already been chatting with you guys for about 17 minutes going off about Bitcoin and price and the DXY. And so the only other thing I'm going to do is look at the SPX before we go, just to see how it's reacting today. So again, that quarter one low, guys, super important area on the chart. And you can see your monthly pivot. So again, this is a statistical target, right? So all we're looking at this as, we know these hit at a certain rate, at least on some assets. I don't know what the hit rate is on the SPX. So this might not be the same as like with Bitcoin. Obviously those stats are a little bit different. But you would think that since this is the average of price from last month, that we'll come back and revisit it. We often do. Does it mean the rally's over? Not necessarily, because if you bounce from here, I think we said about 4,000 is what we're looking for. I mean, you'd still want to have to reclaim some support here, but not the end of the world. But realistically, would like to see this zone get flipped to support. And if so, I'm targeting this gold pocket and this old yearly pivot above it. More so the 4,300 area, though, and this local high right here. So that would be in confluence with the idea that the DXY is going to get a rejection here, though. And if it pushes through this level, like I said, I think 104,775 is coming, maybe even a little bit higher than that over time. So we do need to be somewhat cautious here because we are at resistance for both the SPX and for Bitcoin. And the DXY is now coming into that resistance, but it's been pretty beat down. I feel like it's due for a pretty good jump in price after this whole debacle of downward price action. So I'm gonna turn it over to Max. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. So Maxwell, I'll let you carry on. Oh, you didn't want your face screen there?
Okay, so I'm going to go over obviously what's happened since we last were live. So Magic mentioned this long in yesterday's stream, and the reason that you would have got into this long, I know it was an SFP as well, also the levels that Magic mentioned, but the easiest one was the SFP of the region. And you can see on the order flow, you really did have a delta switch up. Granted, it wasn't ideal, but if you got in on the initial candle after it closed and you've already analyzed that you've got the positive delta there after the drop in open interest, what that tells you is it was a load of shorts closing out that then pulled the price back up. And then that's why it lingered here for a little bit until buyers then came back in and ran the price up. I didn't take this on. Me and Magic were just chatting shit after the stream, and I didn't take it. I know he did. But I actually did take the short because the level that I mentioned was the monthly open. And we came up to it. and, tapped it and swung fail these highs. Everyone knows I love a swing failure pattern. And you could tell the reason to get into it is because, again, you had the delta switch up here. Granted, it wasn't perfect. It lingered around for a little bit, but that gave you some time to get in after you've analyzed that it's there. After you've seen the shorts that are entering, the uptrend pretty much died out. The volume dropped off that was building in the move. You got that huge spike in volume and the open interest drop. Delta then switched up, and it comes with you're getting a load more selling imbalances in these candles than you were in the prior ones. So it tells you that the mood of the market's changed. It's gone from the bullish spike into the region to then more people want to sell and short than they do buy. Which, when you're looking to reclaim the level, you need buyers to then push you through. So the fact that you didn't have that in these regions was another signal that you were going to reject. I did get stopped out on this one. I took my first profits at I think it was I've not got it on this screen, but it was the Chinese pivot that showed up, not this one here on the daily time frame. See if I can change that. Daily. And then I go down to, let's go down to the 5. So I took profits here, but then I put my stop loss at entry. I was expecting to go to bed, and it stopped me out before the big drop. But anyway, it is what it is. Gutted that I did miss the majority of this move, but it is what it is. But anyway, the move down, what you did was you came and took out any of the longs that had been building up for pretty much the whole day, because this one here where we took the low, we SFP'd it. We didn't really take much of the liquidity. It was only a very, it was a brush of it. It just tapped it a little bit. Now, when you don't really take, a considerable amount of the liquidity, that it depends on the high and how long it's been there and how many buyers have come into the market since. But when you're looking at particular levels, when they are just taken, normally you can expect another price to go, the price to move into that region to then collect more of that liquidity. So that's one thing to take note of when you get like mini SFPs like this, is that oftentimes you can come and collect that liquidity at a later date. And you really did that here. And then obviously today, if you're not trading the claims of the VWAPs, there's not really been that many trades. So if you've been watching the charts today and not really taking any trades, it is what it is. The only trades have been the bounces on the VWAPs. There's not really been any other particular setups. I'm just getting some PVA candles, so I'm getting some alerts. But one thing you will notice is towards the end of the day, towards the end of this move, you've had a really big uptick in open interest and positive delta. With that in mind, looking at where price is, you can really expect some of these regions to be taken. Have we just taken that one? Yeah, we've just brushed it. So it's probably going to be another situation where we come down, touch lower, take more of this liquidity. However, if these traders that have entered in this region on the charts have put their stop loss a bit lower, chances are you are going to come down and take this low here, which it looks more likely if you do take this low and don't swing failure, that you come down here. Now, I don't know where the golden pocket is from this region. Probably worth a pull. Let's put the magnet on. Oh, it comes in around the daily open. That would be a potential nice long setup that I'd be interested in taking personally. What I'd want to see there is, a large volume spike, and then the confirmation. If you were really, trying to be cautious with it, you could wait for it to get back above the pivot. That would be the best one, best idea to really trade that, and then you could put your stop loss below whatever low is made. Probably below the daily open, just to be safe. If you want to trade it with a tight stop loss, but obviously the safer one is down here. But that's the daisy. That's the only long setup that I can really see. Other than that, I think the monthly open still remains key. If you get above there, given the fact of how high open interest is, if we do start to climb here, and we know from back here, I'm jumbling all my words. We know from back here there's been many shorts building up throughout this move down. If you do start to reclaim some levels, such as the monthly open, you are going to get some fuel to the upside. So it could be a fast move. So that is something to be aware of. But you've just got to get above them levels. The rejection from last night was pretty obvious. When you get there again, you want to see buyers coming into the order flow. You want to see, okay, this is an example. You want to see this type of thing where you're getting large open interest increases, very positive delta as you break through the level, which shows you that buyers are interested in pushing it through and holding it above. You want to see a bit of continuation as well, where the buying is sustained. You don't want to see a huge spike of a huge drop in open interest and negative delta start to come in. You want to see the sustained buying as you get above the level. But, it is there that if you get above that region, you could have some quite some fuel to the upside with the shorts that have been building, because I'd imagine at this point, many have been trailing there. Yes, imagine if you entered back up here, you've probably been trailing your stop loss somewhat. So it's like whichever high you get above, there's going to be a chance that you get that spike that takes out all those stop losses. And then, if we get the dump at a later date, it's kind of gutted for them because they probably had a really good position, but just got stopped out before, the majority of the move. If we were to drop to that 21K region, 20K region, if we get down to there, they'll probably be kicking themselves for trading the stop loss. But, right now, with the move that we currently got, expecting it to come a touch lower, don't really see why it wouldn't. But yeah, Magic, I am all done, my man. You can talk for 17, I'll talk for 9.
I was going to say, this might be one we actually keep under 30 minutes. I don't really have anything else to add. I will cover a couple alts. If you guys didn't catch it, CVO was on cysteine research with Forrest last night as well. That was a good episode. They covered a lot of alts. I'm still looking at a lot of the same alts that I've been looking at, so just bear that in mind. Not much has changed for me. We talked about if you claimed this box that you'd probably make a new high, maybe get as high as the Q4 high here in the Q4 pivot. However, it did come up short. So again, to me, the easiest trade for DOT was if you were longing this box, which is still trying to hold this support, you were just taking profits at the 12M1 and the prior high, right? So not a huge move, but a nice day trade. Now you're actually effectively have swung failed this on like a higher time frame, probably like a weekly. Yeah, you have. And you are starting to hold it as resistance. So weekly open across the board is actually going to be fairly important for a lot of these altcoins, just like it is on Bitcoin. QNT, I don't think anything has changed there. You've hit the old pit stop. You almost came up to 166. But the January VWAP close is trying to be support. However, bounce number 1, rejection, bounce 2, lower high. So I'm still looking for this to come down into this gold pocket in this yearly pivot somewhere around 124 to 118. Not doing anything too crazy with that one. Just kind of being patient here if we can be. And we'll run through, which one was it? Is it Adam? Yeah, Adam was a good one. This is a really nice chart. We actually shared this on Send City Crypto this last week during the FOMC at the end of the show. Greetings from Poland. Wow. All right. You had a really nice Gartley. What are we looking to do? We're looking to go from the X pivot to the A pivot to the D pivot so we can get our new trend. And this is our trend-based gold pocket. Where does it line up at? Really nicely with what? The C leg, right? We have our local high here, the open and the wick high. We can just map that off, and there is your resistance. I obviously spread that resistance up to 1645. I'm not necessarily interested in this one either until somewhere underneath $12, probably about $12 is where I'm going to start getting interested. Probably like 1225, give or take, 1240 maybe. Yeah, this little area. And then I'm just going to start looking for a trigger to get long potentially into support here. I will say this: if you lose $11.20 on like a closing basis, which is really far away because we're at 1450 right now, I would be concerned that this one's going to take this low at D here. You'll probably see a new low made. I don't really have an updated Gala chart. AVAX was one we've been covering. AVAX actually did not rotate this range in full as we were expecting it to. If you recall, we were just watching the Q3 range here because this was an NPOC backfill. and was also on the 3-month chart. If you went out, you could actually see it trying to get back into that candle, and it did. And this was your range for that quarter, right? And I think I've got it right. As you can see, labeling is actually really helpful, and I didn't do any of that. So there we go. We found it. You had a local golden pocket, right? And you had the value area high of said quarter that we were working our way back into and filling out. So this was resistance for me. And if we were to extend this over just to see where we're at on price, yeah, you're probably looking at filling this quarter range back out, and I would be looking down to like 1580 to 1744, this region of the chart. That's where I'd be interested again, and at least maybe picking up a bounce. You don't ever want to blindly set buys, but it doesn't hurt to set an alert. You can just right click a level. You can just say, let me know when price gets here. I'm going to add that alert, right? Boom, done. So now TradingView is going to do all the work for me. My chart's already complete, so I'm not going to mess with it. Solana, we'll cover this one as well. Again, quarter 3 and 2 low, right? We've talked about these clear lows that were made on high time frame. So again, out to the 3-month chart, making sure that we're keeping a broad view of the market. What do we have here? This is the last place of support before this bomb went off on the chart. And if you go to the daily, what is it? It is resistance. And so we're looking all the way back down to the lows of this move probably. We talked about it. You're just hung up around that $22 mark with these local supports. However, I don't see any reason why it won't come down here and probably tap 20 bucks. Realistically, I'm not buying that because of all of this. It would have to put in a good bounce here and put in a bigger structure, and then maybe I'll play that one a little bit just for funsies. But realistically, I would be looking down to like 15 bucks over time. And that's a pretty good haircut from where we are. I just don't see us not coming back to this play, this spot on the chart at some point. So the only other one that was doing something was Matic. Matic is holding up really, really well. This bounce right here from the 117 level, we talked about getting a bounce there. You effectively got your daily swing fail, and then you've come back up and back tested your swing failure pattern to the upside. So really, really easy coin to probably be trading right now. You could go out to like a monthly range if you wanted to. You could look at January, and then you could just pull. Is this? Yeah, there we go. This is February. There we go. That's the open. And look at that. So what have you done? If you were buying this support that we were on about, you were just trading it from the value area low to the point of control, which is just a point of control for February, and maybe trying to run it up to the high of the range, which it has effectively front ran. So that's why it's important to pay yourself given the opportunity. And then you could always do something like this as well with your anchored VWAP and see if it gives you any kind of like edge to hit a take profit, right? So this one doesn't necessarily do so. Let's move it up to here, and yeah, I mean, it comes in near the point of control. Probably not as useful on this chart, but it is a tool you can use in the future. So we'll see if this does effectively come back to 125 and tag this level. It might, you never know, but those are day trades. These aren't areas that I'm looking to like accumulate a swing long after a move like this, right? I'm not doing anything like that unless you're a breakout trader, in which case you are longing the low of this structure, which is effectively just a wedge pattern or a symmetrical triangle, however you want to look at it, right? You could just do something like this. I don't get too much into patterns, but if you were watching this, all this is letting you know is that price is coming into a squeeze, meaning that at some point this has to go one way or the other, right? So when is that going to happen? Probably here pretty soon. This is either going to break to the upside as a nice big bull flag, or it's going to come down and fill this in and probably hit like $1.01, in my opinion. And this is where I'm interested again in price, is right here at the January NPOC. You've got a monthly level there that was high time frame support. So really, really simple plans and ideas that we're getting underway here. Yep. You lose 118. This like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support here for your February. 118 is like local support Val, excuse me, I had a brain fart there. And you'd also be breaking out of your trend to the downside. This has been your trend thus far this year as calculated by the regression tool. And you would be losing that, effectively just losing a channel breakdown. So we'd be targeting this area of the chart. And if you lose that area, you're probably going to come to these lows, which not a great thing to say, but I would expect actually to see 83 cents again at that point. So that's well and far ahead of ourselves because we are still working in this range. So we don't want to marry that idea. We just need to be aware that if this zone of the chart is reached and it does not hold, probably looking at a fair shakedown in terms of price action. And that would obviously correlate to Bitcoin. The DXY at that time is probably going absolutely ballistic. So, Mario, this is grown-up analysis. If they keep chugging along, I have a massive traction. Although, yeah, no, I mean, it's if gaining massive amounts of viewers was the priority, we would probably do things a little differently. You guys would see me with the O face on the old YouTube thumbnails. I'd be using Max's big old head, that lovely hair that he's got, and that silky smooth voice. We'd probably have him doing a little more. So, but for right now, we just want to make sure we're giving good information. The people that really want to learn how to chart and want to learn how to trade are the ones that we're attracting, and that's what we're after. So, that's it. I don't have anything else to add. I could go through alts all day, but we're already on here for 36 minutes, and I appreciate all. It looks like 27 of you in here for watching. And if you guys need anything, all you gotta do is leave a comment on the video, or you can pop on the Discord, ask. The British accent would get so many views. He's the British Justin Bieber, and we should probably take full advantage of that. You know, like just look at this guy. Look at that mug.
How about you do one, Magic?
You want me to do one of those like O faces? Yeah, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah,
there you go.
I used to have an idea, guys. Before we go, was that I was gonna. This is on my old channel before this one. I was gonna do myself walking out of Crypto's mouth with the O face, like to start the TA session for every.
Do it
Huh?
towards the camera so we can see it.
No, that's not happening.
Come on, man.
The O face, yeah, the moon face, whatever they call it. But I was gonna walk out of his mouth and like the whole like funny
Full
thing,
shebang.
but we'll see. Yeah, if I wasn't such a boomer and had any kind of skills with like Photoshop or editing, I probably would, but I don't. So, yeah, that's all I've got. I'm gonna hop off here. If you guys need anything, you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, in the Discord. Same with Max. Although I don't think he's on Twitter, but he stays incognito, I think.
I'm not
so
on Twitter.
Did you delete Twitter?
No, you won't find me on there.
Infinite loop of me walking out of his mouth, exactly, and then we'll do actual technical analysis. That'd be the joke, is that this was actually not a stupid video. Not that his videos are stupid. I don't want anybody to get upset that I said his videos are dumb. They're not for me.
Can't believe you just called it stupid, mate.
He's over in Dubai. He might try to kick your ass, man.
He's my best mate.
I know the moon. So you guys don't know this. The running joke is that Max used to actually live in the same building as Carl the Moon, and so we always joke that him and Carl were probably secretly like besties. And who knows? But from what you've told me, he's quite the dresser.
Yeah, he dresses like he's in Dubai for sure.
Got all the gold on and stuff.
Full drip, mate. Full drip. Everything, Gucci'd out or whatever. You'd be well up for his dress code, considering you like them Gucci belts.
I do like Gucci belts. Yeah. Belts and Gucci wallets. I think that's isn't that what the men buy, or Gucci wallets or something?
I have a Gucci wallet, to be fair.
Do you really? Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I have a wallet that I've had for like 10 years, man. It's got a lion on it.
That's good, isn't it? You can get the matching hat if you're a wanker.
I bet you spent way more money on that than you probably should have, considering that people aren't going to be using cash much longer. Do you feel dumb having a expensive wallet now?
I need to hold my cards, mate. IDs aren't going digital, are they?
They will. We're all going to be NFTs one day.
You just scan your palm like Amazon, and that's it. They know it's you.
You know, there's people that do that already, right? Like,
Amazon are doing it. You
there's
scan your
a
palm and you pay for your food and shit. Have you
saw
seen
this
that?
guy. I can't remember if it was on TikTok or what. There was this gal that's like, she's pretty rich, but she has a tag in her hand,
Oh,
and
I've seen it.
it opens up her house and like her car and fucking has all her payment info on it. She just like scan it. I'm like, that's too far. I don't want any of that. But
This is the type of chat that we get up to after the stream, but it lasts for ages. Let me
it
just chat
does.
shit.
Maybe we'll do that one day where we'll just end the TA and then just open a new stream where we're just sitting
Chatting
around
shit.
BSing.
It is
Well,
always
Lola
good
says
fun.
she can send us 10 for $100. I assume these are fake Gucci wallets. Yeah, I assume those are fake Gucci wallets. The only thing I'm interested in buying that's kind of
You'd hope
expensive
so.
is I have been eyeballing Rolex and Patek watches because Max has fucking mentioned that several times at this point, and now I can't stop looking at them. And I don't know what it is about a watch like that. Normally, I wouldn't spend money on something like that. I think
Mate,
it's
wait
stupid.
till you see it in person as well.
I
Just wait till you
know.
see them. Them Pateks, when you hold one of them, it's like nothing. It's like softer than silk. It's insane.
Did you say it's softer? What did you just say? Something
Softer
about
than
soft?
silk.
What is?
The Patek watches, the way that they make them, the metal just feels so good. Honestly,
Oh, okay. The metal soft. Yeah, they scratch easy. Then I'm sure.
you just wait to put it on, you'll get them on, mate. 100%.
What kills me about these watches is I am a fan of like gold. Obviously, like I buy gold, and
Big gold chain on.
I do have my little gold chain on. Nice little 18 karat gold chain. But what kills me is the cost of them. But they're made with stainless steel. You know, I'm just like,
They're not. You can get
yes,
anything, mate. You can get white gold, platinum.
I've not seen any that are actually really gold though. They're all just plated, and like I'm not a
Come to
plated or
Dubai, my
bonded.
man. Come to Dubai.
Just come to buy. I'm sure Carl will show me around and let me know all the best places to buy gold. But I've seen them with diamonds and stuff on there, which is cool. But yeah, no, I'm just not a very flashy guy. I wear everything's kind of minimal that I wear. So as far as like jewelry,
He keeps his big thick chain in the wardrobe for when he goes on dates.
I do. I actually only wear it when I'm doing my manscaping of my beard, and I wear it and look at myself in the mirror, and I just go, Max would never beat this. Lucky for you, Max, I've got enough facial hair for both of us because I know that you're, one day.
Consider yourself lucky, mate. Consider yourself lucky.
You know, they do hair transplants. I'm obviously due for one. Kind of like Eric Crown. His turned out really well, but I bet you could get one for a beard. I bet you could get a hair transplant for like a sweet beard.
I'll give it a miss. I like my baby face. Don't want to stab it with loads of little. Did you see when he was recovering? It looked like little tree stumps. I do not want that on my chin.
On his, are you talking about crown on his head?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. The recovery phase of a hair transplant.
Could you imagine feeling that?
The recovery phase of a hair transplant is not a pretty sight. Nick says you got to get beard oil. It works. Donkey chain for special occasions. Dubai is way too opulent for rural boys like us. This is very true. I did tell Max I will go to Dubai this year though and see him. So
I'm effectively a rural boy. I grew up on a farm.
He was telling me about how much he hates animals the other day. Actually, I'm surprised his dog's still alive.
Oh wow! I don't know if you can even say that to me, mate.
But all right, guys, that's enough. I'm gonna go crunch some ice because otherwise I'll do it on stream and nobody wants to hear that. So appreciate you guys sticking around.